tombs.
Rat. Tomb Raider is famous for its beautiful, intelligent English female protagonist who at one point was a more recognizable character than the Pope. She's a sex symbol and always makes it on the hottest video game girls of all time kind of lists, including my own personal one. So who is this badass heroine? It's none other than Lara Croft. Lara Croft. Lara Croft? Lara Croft. Yeah, whatever, she's hot as fuck. So I never actually played a Tomb Raider game before. So yes, I know Tomb Raider fans. How can I call myself a gamer if I never played the Tomb Raider series before? But hey, better late than never. With that said, will the reboot of the Tomb Raider series be a flop to a newcomer like me? Or will it be the start of another favorite series of mine? Well, let's find out. The game takes place in a modern setting around the Dragon's Triangle where the inexperienced Lara is on her first expedition to search for a special location called Yamatai, which was inhabited by the people who called themselves the Solari, where the queen, whose name was Himiko, was able to summon storms and had other supernatural powers. It's considered all a myth, but Lara and her crew believe that they are onto something, or at least clues of the existence of this phenomenon. While on the journey to find the lost X-Men member, Lara and her crew got shipwrecked by a nasty storm and landed on one of the nearby islands. Well, since this is the start of Lara's adventures as she has zero experience, we get to see how strong this woman really is and see how these events will shape her into the hardcore survivor that everybody knows her as. Well, you know, except me. I mean, like I said, this is my first day here. Sorry. But it's really interesting to see her go from just a scared regular girl trying to survive, evolve into Rambo! That's the girl form of Rambo, by the way. Lara freaking Croft! That's all I really need to say for this section, I mean, come on. But seriously, the character models are super impressive, the environments feel real and look gorgeous, and the details to something as small as the weapons look truly spectacular. With a series that's so big, I suppose it isn't a shock that Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix wanted to impress the fans of the series. Also, to impress people who are super anal on good-looking graphics, which, by the way, isn't the only thing that makes a good game. Oh, and speaking of Square Enix, I want to admit I got worried when I saw that name slapped on this title since the company is known for role-playing games, so unless Lara Croft is going to be in a turn-based strategy game as a level 34 mage casting Pharah, I thought this was going to be a not-so-great game that would piss off a lot of people, but they're actually only the publishers, so the actual developers would be Crystal Dynamics, who made the previous two Tomb Raider games, which was Underworld and Legend. So all is well. But I digress. The graphics in this game are just plain superb, and the animations are decent. It's just they have a few quirks here and there. I was actually surprised by the amount of death animations and how brutal some of them can be. One tiny detail worth mentioning, I did have a few moments where I thought the game was freezing and it would skip really badly for a bit, but then it would fix itself. It happened several times, especially during combat, but it wasn't too bad where it became a huge nuisance, so personally it's not a big deal to me, but for some people it might be the end of the fucking world. The game is a third-person shooter with platformer elements implemented into it. See, if Uncharted and Far Cry rented a hotel room, and Far Cry stuck its business all up in Uncharted's territory making her cry out in pleasure and they had a baby, it'd be a Tomb Raider. The feel of the game surprised the hell out of me. Honestly, I went in not knowing what to expect and was thoroughly impressed. Combat is a fucking blast and has stealth elements in it too, which is so much fun trying to take out the mercenary groups without them even knowing that an angel of death lurks in the area. The four main weapons you get, in order, is a bow, a pistol, a machine gun, and a shotgun. My personal favorite is the bow. I just love that shit. As if the weapons themselves were enough to add variety, you can customize your weapons and equipment by finding scavenged parts scavenge in boxes found throughout the island. As the game progresses, your weapons evolve into a more powerful arsenal. Nothing quite says survival like an assault rifle. The cover system in this game is flawless. When approaching a waist-high object, Lara crouches automatically without snapping to it, which I love about the non-sticky cover system. It's easy and quick to use, allowing flexibility in combat, especially when you need to dodge out of the way of an incoming Molotov or an axe hurtling towards your face. One thing that made me laugh and made my jaw drop was the intelligent AI. When I decided to put away my bow and start using my pistol, I started blasting fools left and right, which by the way, every kill was very satisfying. But when I had to reload, I heard the AI cry out, "She's reloading!" And they started to reposition, some of which actually started to charge at me, hoping that I would expose myself for their buddies to pick me off. I thought those small details were utterly brilliant and just surprised me. But the thing that really surprised me though, was the island. I thought this was a story-based linear game, which isn't a bad thing. But to my shock, this island has many areas where you can explore, which I did not expect in this game, and it is designed perfectly. I haven't found all the tombs or seen all the areas yet, but I found it fascinating in how some areas aren't accessible early in the game until you progress and acquire new equipment, like the rope barrel thing, where when you shoot an arrow, there's a rope attached to it and allows Lara to yank on the rope, allowing her to break doors open or to create a path that she can climb to on the other side with. But to explore the island in search of treasures or notes that deepen the plot with extra background information is actually a lot of fun and definitely adds replay value, since if you were to focus on just the story and follow the path towards the story events, you would miss a lot of other things that were put in this game and would miss out on the full Tomb Raider experience. Speaking of the rating of tombs, you know those old school games where they have their own little way to let you know that a boss was ahead, like in Yoshi's Island with the red doors? In this game, it had an effect that reminded me of that, where when Lara starts walking slowly through a dark cave with her torch out, it means it's time to put on your smarty pants and to solve a quick puzzle before getting to the ultimate treasure chest that lies within. The multiplayer turned out to be rather decent, actually. I originally thought it would be tacked on and pointless, but it actually had a bit more depth to it than I thought and found it to be loads of fun. Probably more fun than Uncharted, to be perfectly honest. By playing more games, you earn scavenger points like in the campaign, but it works a bit differently, where if you acquire enough of these points, you can choose what to unlock early, or you can simply just play until you rank up and reach the level to unlock the particular item with. A concept I found to be very interesting. The plentiful weapons, characters, and skills to unlock make it a fun and welcome addition, adding an even higher replay value to this game. Lara's breathing. That's pretty much all you're gonna hear a lot of. But honestly, that does happen, but it doesn't bother me too much because Camilla Luddington did a fantastic job voice acting Lara Croft and really captured some of the more emotional scenes, especially the ones where Lara was getting the shit beaten out of her, and for a while there you would actually think the voice actress was actually scared as hell or in an outrageous amount of pain. The two things I am very impressed with is the voice acting overall and the gunshots. Every bullet had a powerful weight behind it, and the sound of it was just another reason for you to take cover. The soundtrack is really good and fits it perfectly, but I can't really think of any particular piece that stood out to me while playing, which isn't a bad thing, but it just doesn't make the soundtrack as memorable as all. This is a really short section, I know, but there isn't really much for me to talk about since overall everything just sounds fantastic. This game absolutely blew my freaking mind away. It was one of those games where I bought for $60 and thought, shit, I made a big mistake. But it turned out to be one of those rare games where I think it's actually worth that $60 price tag and then some. So it was a pleasant surprise for me to see what this game had in store that I wasn't entirely aware of. The game is extremely fun with plenty of things to explore and do in the campaign. Even the multiplayer is now one of my favorite third-person online games. Yes, it's not necessarily a new IP, but it wasn't exactly Virgin Blood 3 or anything like that to me. So since I never played a Tomb Raider game before, the fact is that this was a new experience for me, and it has become one of my favorite games of all time. I enjoyed this more than Metal Gear Rising, which says a lot since I am a huge Metal Gear fan. So with that said, all in all, the adventures I had with Miss Croft easily made it as one of the most memorable action games I have played in a long time. And I strongly recommend this title to any gamer, especially fans of the Uncharted series, since they could probably relate to the controls here more so than anyone else. But of course, any other Tomb Raider fan would be a no-brainer. As soon as you have the funds, or should I say scavenger points, no, but seriously, as soon as you have the funds, go treat yourself to a copy of this game. I promise, you cannot go wrong with it.